Actress Jessica Sherr is currently reprising her role as the legendary Bette Davis in the acclaimed one-woman show Bette Davis Ain't for Sissies. She will be performing in New Jersey at the very special Bell Theater at Bellworks, a brand new theater in Holmdel. Take a look.
Did anyone read the newspaper? The LA Times leaked all the winners. How thoughtful of them!
Oh, well, my name is Jessica Sherr. I'm the actress and the playwright of the acclaimed solo show Bette Davis Ain't for Sissies. It's about young Bette Davis in the 1930s and her fight in Hollywood, all the way through the later years of her life, and seeing this person who's this tenacious star fighting her way through the studio system.
Jessica, this looks fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So, how did you get started?
Well, this has been an ongoing success. I was told way back in 2008, I looked a little bit like Bette Davis, and I actually was on the streets of New York City, and people said, you know what, you look like Bette Davis, you got her eyes. And I finally Googled her, and I was like, I guess I look like young Betty. And I was in a class, and in this class, I had to do a famous person, and I got really excited about Bette Davis, and I decided, you know what, for class, let's do this character. And it turned into this over 400 shows I've performed at this point of this 20-year overnight success.
Wow,
400.
That's incredible.
That's a big number.
So you mentioned, the physical appearance, but why Bette Davis? And you do the show like this?
Yeah, she's just such a firecracker. And when I started to learn about Betty and her fight in Hollywood, young Betty really was interesting. There's old Bette Davis, but then there's young Bette Davis who's fighting Hollywood. I got excited as not only the actress, but as the playwright in me, I was curious to know what is it about Betty that makes her special. And I found that she's one of the first women of her time to fight in Hollywood, to truly start doing what, actors are trying to change now. She did it almost 100 years ago.
So Betty is this pioneer in terms of pushing for better in Hollywood, is what I'm hearing you say here. And so what do you want audiences to leave the theater feeling? You mentioned she's a firecracker. She's got this great spirit. Is that what you're hoping people turn around and leave the theater with when they think of her moving forward?
Absolutely. I think the part of Betty that's so exciting for audiences is that she's unlike anybody else. She has this spirit. She has this firecrackerness to her. And as the audience, you get to watch how she stands up and fights for herself in Hollywood, how she's the first person of her time to say, it's not fair. What you guys do to us in the studio system is not right. And she really doesn't back down. I love that Betty does not back down. I find that, audiences leave the audience. They leave the theater feeling that they've gone on a journey, and also that they too can stand up in their own life and fight for what they believe in.
Wow. Now, Jessica, we are told that you were given a few of Miss Davis's personal items, like a scarf and gloves. Tell us about that.
Yes. So what happened was I was given a pair of Betty's scarf and gloves to wear in the show. I know. And it's amazing because there's a piece of Betty, I feel like in every show, there's a little bit of Betty that comes onto the show and on stage with me. But what happened was I was going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland, and I had sent my script to the Bette Davis estate to see if I could use her name. And I got a call on a Sunday, and there was a woman named Catherine Cermak. And she said, I was Bette Davis's assistant for 10 years. I read your play. You're so passionate. Is there anything I can do to help you? And I was like, well, where do you live? And she said, well, I live in Los Angeles. You're welcome to come and, visit me. I'm happy to talk about Bette Davis, my experience with her, and your script. So I flew out to Los Angeles, and it was just a magical moment of meeting Catherine Cermak, who was Betty's assistant for 10 years. And she gave me insight of Bette Davis. And the way in which she described Betty was that she loved to give gifts. And Betty would think of something special for somebody. And at the end of our meeting, she gave me a little box with a gold bow. And in it was a pair of Betty's scarf, the gloves, handkerchief, and earrings to wear. And she said, you know what, Betty would have wanted you to have these to wear in the show. And it's, as the artist in me, it's that point where you never give up. These are the moments where you think to yourself, okay, this is truly divine. Betty, too, is putting her stamp of approval of never give up. And when I put them on stage, I always feel like I'm growing into Betty. There's a part of me that as Jessica, I get to be confident. I get to be a trailblazer. And it's in the name and the spirit of Bette Davis.
That is an absolutely amazing story. Like, what confirmation as to move forward in what you're doing with her blessing, so to speak. And I've got to know who came up with the name, because I love that. Bette Davis ain't for sissies. Was that you?
Yeah, well, what happened was, so for 17 years, I was a personal trainer in New York City, and I was with a client, and we were exercising, and we were doing our barbells, and I was about to go to Scotland, and we were thinking, well, there's that famous quote, old age ain't no place for sissies, and then we thought, oh, Bette Davis ain't no place for sissies, so it was about Betty's quote, and then putting her into it.
That is fantastic. What a way to tie it all together. You're also performing at this new theater, the Bell Theater at Bellworks in Holmdel. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So Bellworks is a beautiful space out in New Jersey, and it's a brand new theater, which, in today's world, theaters don't open as much as they used to. And having a space for a community to gather is so special. And Bellworks is beautiful. It is actually they just opened this year. So they're at the very beginning of their history. And they're bringing in new shows like mine to kind of inspire folks in the neighborhood to come see the shows. They're great shows. I'm so blessed to be part of the touring community where we really are creme de la creme shows, and so they've really made a great effort to bring in some wonderful shows, and I'm excited to be there.
Yes, well, Jessica, let us
Dina,
know how we can find out more information on how to attend one of these shows.
Yeah, well, we can either go into the website. My website is Bette Davis 8forsissies.com, or you can go onto Bellworks and go on their website and buy a ticket now. That would be amazing. Go buy your tickets now. Don't delay. Betty would say buy your ticket now.
I love that.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jessica. We wish you all the best. Break a leg, and hopefully we can get tickets ourselves and come by and see the show.